What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's time for new release review where I give you my thoughts and opinions about the brand new releases. Are they worth your time? But most importantly, are they worth your money? I'm starting off today's video with the brand new 4K of Twisters from Universal. Now, I am a huge die-hard fan of the original film. You guys already know this. It's my favorite disaster movie of all time. Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, I love them in that movie. The whole entire experience of Twister is amazing. So when I heard that this sequel was coming so many years later, I said to myself, this film really has big shoes to fill. And what is really great about Twisters is that it does honor the original film. It does have callbacks to that movie. But this film, Twisters, really does stand on its own because you don't necessarily have to watch the first movie to love and appreciate this film, because there really are no connections to that first movie. Like I mentioned, they do have callbacks there's a certain outfit that Daisy Edgar Jones wears in the movie that's very reminiscent to an outfit that Helen Hunt wore in the original film. There's no character connections. Helen Hunt does not appear in Twisters. The only real connection between the two movies is Dorothy, the machine that Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt create and, takes off at the end of Twister, of the original film, that does pop up in this movie. But other than that, there really is no connection. They are their own separate films. So that is great that Twisters can stand on its own and just really be independent from that original film, but it does honor it and pay homage to it at the same time. So that's what I really noticed about the film, and I also enjoyed. At first, I mentioned I kind of wish Helen Hunt was in the movie as Daisy Edgar Jones's mom or an aunt or something like that. But, after watching it for a second time at home, really not necessary. And you could tell that was the vision of the director, of the entire production company or the production crew of the movie, is that they really wanted to make their own film. So I really can appreciate that. And where they got creative with this movie are the different types of tornadoes. We see various different types of tornadoes, just like in the original film. And they do pay honor to that as well with the twin sister tornadoes. They do that in this movie as well. But what they introduced in Twisters is the fire tornado. I thought that was really awesome. That was a great sequence. And there are a lot of great action, kind of tension sequences throughout this entire movie. And you're never bored watching it because there's always something happening. Of course, they pause, in between tornadoes. It's not tornadoes all the time, but it's pretty much on par with the original film. It takes the appropriate beats, and then we get more action. So the pacing of the film is very similar to the first one. Now, as far as the cast, I enjoyed the cast. I thought this was a great casting choice. Daisy Edgar Jones, great. I thought she was an amazing choice. And the reason why I'm stumbling in my words here. I'm sorry. I don't know why. The reason why I like this cast so much is because they didn't go the typical route of casting obvious A-list celebrity choices. They kind of went, a little bit, I don't want to say subpar because that's not the right choice, but not A-list celebrities, up-and-comers. There we go, up-and-coming actors. And that is what I liked about this, because there was no real star that actually stood out. They were all kind of like an even level playing field. So that was great. Everyone got screen time. There was no specific actor that we focused in on. I mean, obviously these two are, they stand out more than anyone else. This really is Daisy Edgar Jones's film. It's her story. But as far as everyone else in the cast, everyone got screen time. Everyone got lines. And it was very reminiscent of the first film, where you had that great ensemble cast. they did duplicate that in this movie as well. So that's kind of like another homage. So I love Daisy Edgar Jones and also Glenn Powell. I thought he was a great casting choice because he's just so charming in this movie. Charming, charismatic, the way he enters into the film, the music that's playing, it's very memorable. Speaking of the music in this movie is just so great. It's a fantastic soundtrack. Obviously, it's pretty much all country music and it's wonderful. It's so great. It's one of the best soundtracks in a movie of the year. And you can't help but like bounce around while you're watching the movie because the music really does stand out and it's so great. So as far as the 4K transfer, how does it look? How does it sound? Of course it looks amazing because movies like this that are made nowadays are meant for a 4K. So it looks fantastic. As far as the sound goes, the sound is incredible. They did a great job with it. So if you have an amazing sound system, because I don't. I do not have an amazing sound system, and this was playing very nicely on my TV. So I can only imagine if you have a souped up system at your house, how this is going to sound. So this is one of the best 4K releases of the year, in my opinion. I think it looks great. It sounds great. You have a lot of fun during the movie. And I highly recommend that you guys pick this one up. If you love the first movie, I think you are going to enjoy Twister. So it definitely is worth your time and also worth your money. And it is available right now. Your choices are a 4K slip, and there's also a 4K steelbook as well. Next up is the 4K of Borderlands. All right, this should be interesting because I did not see this movie at the theater. So this was a first time watch for me. And I'm sure a lot of you are really wondering, what did I think of this movie? Because, I mean, obviously that's the reason why you're here. But because this film was not really popular at the box office, it did not really do well. And then also combining that with a lot of negative reviews about the movie, that's why I'm saying I'm sure all of you really want to know my opinion about the film. And honestly, I didn't hate it. I actually had fun with this film. And I think I gave it a 3-star on my Letterboxd. And I'm sure a lot of you are fainting and falling over right now because I said that. But it's true. I don't know. I had a good time with Borderlands. And I think the reason why is because this is based off of a video game. I am not familiar with the video game at all. I don't have any history with this. I had no knowledge of the video game. I just went in completely blind to this movie, watched it, and judged it. I did not have any outside influence to kind of, just like kind of nag at me, this doesn't really compare to this, and it does, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have any other sources to tell me differently about this movie. So I think that really worked in my benefit because I didn't have any other knowledge about anything else like the video game. So I think that really worked in my favor because I had fun. I had fun with the movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a perfect film by any means. If this was perfect, I would have given it a 5-star. It's not perfect. It's definitely not a perfect movie. But I'm not hating on Borderlands like a lot of other people. Like I said, I gave it a 3-star. I give Cate Blanchett a lot of credit for doing an action movie. I don't think I've ever seen, has she done an action film before? I've never seen her in an action movie doing what she's doing in this film. I mean, she is running around, she is shooting guns, like she is leaping and crawling. She is very, very athletic in this movie. I'm used to seeing Cate Blanchett in a period piece or Academy Award winning films. So for her to completely flip the switch 180 and do an action film, I gotta give her some credit. I really, really do. And the color in this film is so fantastic. So the 4K transfer of this looks amazing. It just looks so good because obviously you can tell how much color is being used in this movie. I mean, her hair alone is like bright orange and red, and it just looks incredible. So the 4K transfer of this movie looks really, really nice. It is worth the 4K. But yeah, I didn't hate it. I'm not hating on this movie at all. I thought it was a good time. I'll watch it again. I'm not going to watch it again anytime soon, like not next week or in 2 weeks, but in another 6 months. Sure, I can imagine myself if I'm having like, Kate Blanchett month or something. Yeah, I'll watch this. I'll pick it up. I will say I do think the weak link, because this cast is like so random, so randomly put together. I mean, you have Kate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, you have the girl from Barbie who was so entertaining playing her character in this movie. I'm not really sure who this actor is right here. And then you have Jack Black as the robot. He was kind of annoying after a while, but I don't think he was as annoying as a lot of people were saying. I was laughing. I really was. I was laughing at the robot. I guess I get the robot humor. I don't know. But I do think if there was a weak link in the cast, it was Jamie Lee Curtis, because I feel like once they introduced Jamie Lee Curtis's character into the movie, it really shifted things a lot for me personally. I was kind of happy with everything before her character came along, because her character really doesn't come into the movie until like, what, 45 minutes or an hour in. She's very late in the movie, very late added in. So if there's any like casting complaint, it would be Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know. And I understand the way she was playing the character. It was meant to come off a certain way, but sometimes it was kind of awkward and weird, which was probably the intent for her acting choice. But I wasn't really the biggest fan of it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that, I don't know. Maybe that was her choice. Maybe her character was written that way. I'm not really sure. And as far as the ending goes, the ending for me kind of went like a little bit into ridiculous town, over the top. But overall, as the movie, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I had a good time with it. Like I said, middle of the road, 3-star. Didn't absolutely love it. It's not perfect, but I don't hate it. It's not the worst film of the year. So I'm really happy that Lionsgate sent this over. I am. I am. I'm glad. I'm glad they sent it over. I have 2 copies. I got the 4K Steelbook as well. So I'm all set when it comes to Borderlands. I had a good time. I did. What can I say? I don't know. Maybe a lot of people disagree with me. They probably do, but I enjoyed Borderlands. Okay, now I'm going to hold up 2 Kino Lorber titles. One of them is available. Oh, did I mention Borderlands is available right now? I did forget to say that. If you're interested in Borderlands, this is available now. Okay. You can order online or pick it up in store, probably anywhere. Or Walmart. Because, I mean, we are kind of limited out there. All right, Kino Lorber is next. We have 2 different titles. We have the Blu-ray. They're both Blu-rays. The Blu-ray of Plenty with Meryl Streep, and also the Blu-ray of Enough Rope. So the reason why I'm holding them up together is because these 2 films actually have things in common. So I might as well just talk about them both at the same time, because I don't want to seem too repetitive. You know what I'm saying? So the things that they have in common is both of these movies are taken from previous written material. So Plenty was a stage play, and then Enough Rope here was based off of a novel, which I did not know about that of either one of these movies. And also about these 2 films that they have in common is that these films are definitely not for everyone. Now, that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just letting you guys know that both of these movies are a slow burn. They're both good. They're both good, solid films. They're nicely done. They do keep your attention, but they are slow burns. So if you're not really the biggest fan of a slow burn film, I'm not really sure if these movies would be for you. But overall, I enjoyed both on different levels. So with Plenty, we'll focus in on Plenty first. So Plenty with Meryl Streep, when Kino Lorber offered, the list of what I wanted Plenty because it's Meryl. hello, like it's Meryl. Meryl Streep always delivers an amazing performance. And of course, she repeats that again in this film. However, her character is frustrating. Her character is so frustrating in this movie because pretty much what happens in Plenty, she is a part of the resistance in World War II. And once that is over, she's trying to like find her footing in the world and she's trying to be happy. She's going through, you're following her along throughout her life as, as it's playing out. And she's kind of working all these jobs and she gets married to someone, but she's not necessarily happy. And then she wants to have a baby. This is like all over the map right now. She's all over the place, but she's trying to find her happiness, but she can never find it. She's never fulfilled. And that's why the title of the movie is so ironic, because it's Plenty, but obviously her life is empty, or she's feeling that her life is empty. And so that's where the frustration comes in, because like she should be happy with the way her life is going, but she's not. And as she's like navigating her life and trying to figure things out, she is sabotaging herself. You know what I'm saying? It's a very like, just very toxic way to live your life. So as Meryl puts out a fantastic performance and she looks amazing, her skin is flawless. I mean, this was way back in the day. I mean, I just aged myself. This is 1985, okay? So 1985, this is a little bit of an older film. She looks fantastic. She is flawless. Her skin is like beyond perfect. She looks incredible, but she's kind of ugly on the inside with everything that she's doing and the sabotaging and the hurting of other people. She doesn't care about, who she has to hurt to get what she wants out of life. How selfish is that? You know what I'm saying? So like she's cheating on her husband. She's sleeping with Sting. Who knew Sting was in this movie? The cast, by the way, the cast of this film is just so random. So random. You have Meryl Streep. You have Charles Dance, who plays her husband in the movie. She sleeps with Sam Neill's character very early on as like a one-night stand. She's missing that. She tries to rekindle it, and it does, but it's not like the most fulfilling thing. And then her best friend is Tracy Ullman. Random, but she's so good. She's so good in this movie. There's also a very young Ian McKellen in the film. This movie, Plenty, is driven by the performances. If you want a film that just delivers fantastic performances, Plenty is that movie. There's no CGI, there's no action scenes in here. Well, there's like, the war scenes in the very beginning, but that's it. Like, there's no action, there's no CGI, there's nothing to, scare you in this movie. Like, it is straight up a very serious drama. What did I mention? What did I say? Slow paced. It is a slow paced drama. That is what you are getting. I just want to make you guys aware, because I personally did not realize how serious this movie was going to be. So that kind of surprised me a little bit, but I welcome the surprise. I did, because Meryl is so good in the film. So now let's move on to Enough Rope. Enough Rope. So as I mentioned, this is based off of a novel, and this is a crime thriller murder movie. And what's happening in Enough Rope is that you have two male strangers. They don't know each other. They don't have a history with each other, but they suspect each other of murdering their wives. So that is the reason why I wanted this movie, because I thought, wow, that is a very intriguing premise. So I did request from Kino. Obviously, they sent it over and I checked it out. What I did not realize is that this is actually a foreign film. Now, you guys know I don't usually gravitate towards foreign films. I'm not completely against them. It's not a go-to for me. So I do want to point that out if you are interested in Enough Rope, that it is a foreign film. So we're dealing with subtitles. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to point that out and throw that out there. Nothing wrong with subtitles at all. I love to read. I love closed captioning. Okay. So I just want to point that out. I think a lot of people got the impression when I made that Criterion video that, I don't watch foreign films. I'm like I'm totally against foreign films. I'm not. It's just not a go-to for myself. But when I watched this film, great black and white movie from 1963. And I mean, I'm not going to go into full on details here because it's a thriller. So I would be revealing everything if I totally went into detail. But what I will say about the movie is that it keeps you invested, you're involved, you're intrigued. Again, the performances, this movie, just like Plenty, is performance driven. So you're going to get those well done performances. And from what I've read online, because when I watch a movie that I'm not really familiar with, after I watch something, I usually go to IMDb because I'm curious about other people's, thoughts and reactions about films. And the very few comments about Enough Rope, I think there's only 5 or 6, or reviews, I should say. The reviews over on IMDb, a couple of people commented that Enough Rope is extremely underrated. And I would have to agree with that because I had never heard of this movie prior. And this is a really well done film. So I would recommend Enough Rope to you guys as well. So both of these positive recommendations from myself. And you're engaged in this movie up until the very end with the climax that I'm not going to reveal to you guys because I don't want to spoil anything. So these are going to be available. Actually, Plenty is available right now, and then Enough Rope is going to be available next Tuesday, the 29th. Yes, the 29th. So you can order these online. They're not going to be in store unless they're at your local Barnes & Noble, because I know Barnes & Noble has been getting in Kino Lorber titles lately. So possibly at your local Barnes & Noble, but other than that, I would just pick them up online if you're interested. So Plenty and Enough Rope. All right, the final title. That's it, just 5 movies. The final title to talk about, Addams Family Values. Now, I'm not going to get into full-on detail about the movie because you guys know what this movie is about. It's the Addams Family. I mean, it's really not that serious. You guys know the Addams Family. They are a classic, iconic, horror comedy family. There we go. That has lasted, the test of time, really. I mean, they're just so iconic at this point, and having a resurgence because of, the show Wednesday on Netflix and everything. So I feel like the Addams Family is always going to exist in our pop culture. But Addams Family Values, this was such a wonderful revisit for myself because I've not seen the sequel in so long. I cannot even tell you the last time I saw it. It's probably been at least like 10 years or something. It's been a really, really long time. Now, I picked up the 4K of the first movie, I believe last year or 2 years ago, and looked amazing. They did a great job. I think that was also Paramount, because this is Paramount, so obviously the first movie is Paramount as well. The first film looked fantastic on 4K, and they absolutely duplicated, if not did better, with this sequel, because the 4K transfer of Addams Family Values looks incredible. This 4K transfer, I'm saying right now, is probably going to be in my top 10 4K transfers of the entire year. It just looked so amazing, even down to the cobwebs in the house. Okay, like you could see every single cobweb, every single like bit of string of cobweb. It just looked so well done. They did an amazing job with this 4K transfer. So I highly recommend, if you need this movie, if you have not seen it in a while, then you definitely need the 4K of Addams Family Values. And I just love these movies because the cast is just spot on perfect. It is such a shame that we lost Raul Julia, who plays Gomez. because he was just so perfect. Him and Angelica Houston as Morticia, they sell this movie. They are so good in their roles, and Christina Ricci as Wednesday, and I believe Jimmy Workman plays Pugsley. Everyone is so perfectly cast, and Christopher Lloyd, obviously, as Uncle Fester. Everyone is just so amazing. They know their roles, you know, back, forth, and sideways, especially in the sequel. They're just so good. They're just so good. Plus, I know a lot of people do like to watch Addams Family Values around this time of the year, not only for spooky season, but also for Thanksgiving time, because there is, you know, the little bit of Thanksgiving in the movie when the kids are at camp and they have that entire scene. So I know some people like to include Addams Family Values with Thanksgiving. So now is the perfect time for you to pick this up, and I highly do recommend, because I believe this is definitely the best 4K transfer, I believe, of this pile. So Borderlands, Twisters, and Addams Family Values, this one to me is the best one. They're all good. Don't get me wrong. They're all good. But this one, Addams Family Values, is the best, and this is officially going to be available next Tuesday, October 29th. So that is it, guys. That is my thoughts about the latest crop, again, of brand new releases. So if you are interested in picking up any of these, Twisters, Borderlands, and also Plenty are available right now. And next week, Enough Rope and Addams Family Values. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you next time.